I'm at the edge of the Icelandic highland by two waterfalls, one named Háifoss and the other one Granny. And for the past hour there has been a beautiful light here, perfect for drone flight. The only problem is I'm not allowed to fly the drone. Regulation is a simple word, something that everybody should understand, self-explanatory, but when it lands in the hands of bureaucrats that think that regulation equals power to make life difficult for others, then we've got a big problem. And this is exactly what happened on May 17th here in Iceland. I am now, what you see here behind me is the waterfall Hjálparfoss in the valley of Þjórsárdalur, one of several areas where they have now put on a drone ban. I decided to take a trip from the capital area, about a 2.5 hours drive, up to this area and have a look at it, see why they would want to put a drone ban in here. Take a look at the reasons behind some of the explanation why they put the ban. So if you're interested in bureaucracy going crazy, keep watching. My name is Christian, I'm a photographer from Iceland and a guide. This is a sad story of power abuse. So, what is all this fuss about? On May 17th, 2026, the Icelandic Nature Conservation Agency, Náttúruverndarstofnun, introduced new rules on restricting recreational and educational drone flights across 25 protected areas. We are talking about places like Fjallabak, Geysir, Gullfoss, Goðafoss, Mývatn and Háifoss. Commercial filming and advertising and news production remain permitted, and outside these areas normal EASA and Samgöngustofa, or the transportation agency rules, they still apply. This is not a nationwide ban. When this first came up, there was no mention of photographers at all, just big productions. I did not believe this would affect me, so I went to the agency website to apply for a drone permit. And the shock came when I got there. On the screen I could choose between applying for a drone flight or, and I hope you are sitting down, applying for a license to do photography. All of a sudden, I have to pay 83,000 Icelandic kroner, about $860, just to get the license to pay to take pictures out in nature. For me, someone that has been traveling all over Iceland all my life and taking pictures, this is outrageous. But hold your horses, things are gonna get worse. Jeroen van Nieuwenhove has been running a photography workshop here in Iceland in the last couple of years. And since drone flight became a regulated area here in Iceland, just like in the rest of Europe, he has been applying for permits to fly. This year, the application was denied. The agency reclassified the workshop as recreational. The same workshop that has been registered and taxed like a commercial workshop in the past years. To quote himself, the flight is exactly the same. The difference lies only in who's holding the controls. The agency has decided that there will be absolutely no recreational flight permits issued in those 25 protected areas. Not fewer permits, not stricter conditions, just no permits. And you have to ask, where is the evidence? What is missing from all of this is data. There is no published research, no field data, no field studies that come with these restrictions. The agency's own visitor survey from 2019 found that most visitors were not disturbed by aerial traffic. That same survey is referenced in their management plan, the one that they are now using to justify this ban. Regulation has to be built on facts. Facts have to be gathered. The biggest ingredients in this is common sense, something that I doubt that the person that took this decision has. The weather is a big argument in this case. Here is where this gets completely unworkable for anyone actually living here. The processing time for a permit went from around 14 days in 2025 to 196 days in 2026. I cannot decide 3 weeks in advance that I'm going to fly my drone or take a picture. Nobody can. We are living in a godforsaken island where we don't know whether it's going to snow or be sun, even in the middle of summer. This makes this absolutely impossible. I need to be able to jump when weather permits, just like I did last night at Vatnajökull. In the Icelandic summer, the best and most beautiful light, in my opinion, is often between like 9 o'clock in the evening, from 9 o'clock in the evening to about 4 o'clock at night. At that time, that is when magic can happen. And this is the time that most people are asleep. This time is the time when you feel most alone out in nature. And this is the time that you and I and those interested in photography are banned from enjoying. After a huge protest from me and other photographers and the Professional Photography Association of Iceland, the agency issued a correction on 10th of June. They acknowledged that the information on the website was inadequate. Professional photographers, they said, could still apply for permits, but under specific conditions. But there is still no mention of general photography. The processing time has not changed. The agency has since agreed to meet with the professional or the Association of Professional Photographers in Iceland, and that is a step forward. But it does not address the cost, the wait time, or the arbitrary line between commercial and recreational use. And there is still no mention of the badly written regulation that essentially bans me and professional photographers from taking pictures out in nature without a permit. Nobody has clarified that yet. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against rule or regulation. And I know that there have been idiots flying over the heads of people and that have not been taking wildlife into consideration. On the other hand, I have been a full-time guide and driver guide for the past 9 years. So I have a pretty good feel about the situation, how it is. And it's nowhere near what the agency describes. And things have been getting better in the last couple of years since this hype with drones started diminishing, and people learned how to fly them and how to behave when using them. And one of the things in this is that we are not talking about a national park here. This is, you could say, there are nature reservation, and some of these areas are the most popular destination in Iceland today. Not only are they popular for tourists, but also for photographers. Vatnajökull þjóðgarður, or Vatnajökull National Park, regulated by the same agency, has a totally different approach to drone flight. Vatnajökull National Park doesn't ban drones. They ask pilots to use common sense. They ask them not to fly close to people or over the head of people, be precautious of wildlife and nesting birds. Basically, Vatnajökull National Park says, if you have the license to fly, you have done the course, you have the education, you know how to behave, there should be no problem. And this works. And there is a simple reason for that. Anyone interested in photography knows that a big crowd of tourists is not something that you want in front of your lens. Photographers are not out there in the middle of the day when the peak amount of tourists are on the road or out in the places. We photographers, we know that, or think at least, that the most beautiful light is usually in the morning or in the afternoon. In the morning, we are out when people are eating breakfast. In the afternoon or evening, we are out when people are at the bar drinking cocktails. Regulation shouldn't need to be there because we are out there when people are in there and vice versa. This ban might have a devastating effect on photography. It will have absolutely devastating effect on photography workshop, and it will have effect on the tourism. Tourism industry needs images, constant demand of both footage and still images, and content creators coming to Iceland or living here in Iceland, they're in big trouble. They're not allowed to do anything. The financial impact of this decision is going to be way bigger than the agency thought. Or did they think? I'm not sure they did. Another point to this is that it may very well go against the law. That is something that I and others, we are going to look into. So if you're interested in this story, what will happen, how it's going to evolve, then do subscribe so that you will get noticed. I will follow this up in the future. And if you've been affected by this new regulation or have comments on it, please put comments down here. I'll try my best to answer them based on all the facts that I find and know. Hope you enjoy your photography life. Just be careful here in Iceland. You might be like me and break the law willingly or not.